Looking for insurance to insure your home or automobile? Please contact Alexia at Allstate, located in New Providence, New Jersey, servicing clients in the state of New Jersey. Welcome to Let's Talk About It. Let's Talk About It is a platform that talks about real estate, entrepreneur, anything that you want to understand when it comes to financial literacy. Let's Talk About It is the platform. Today I got a special guest. His name is Spero Kalyoussef. Kalyoussef. We just went over it, and I'm saying it again. Kalyoussef. So I just call him Spero because that's who I am. That's what
Spero Kali,
sure.
sure.
Spero Kali. There you go. Listen.
Listen up, people.
Listen up. That said, we're going to talk about what he's doing differently from others when it comes to growing his portfolio in real estate and how he dominates Northern New Jersey when it comes to selling, buying, value, prospecting, you name it. Spero's going to go through all that with us today. So Spero, take it away. Who are you? And let's talk about it, brother.
Thank you for having me on, Jimmy. Appreciate it. You're giving us the space, time, and effort into, sitting down and having these conversations. My name is Spero Kalyoussef. Been a real estate agent for about 14 years now. Right. 2014 I started. And, from Clifton area, Passaic County. Right. Middle Eastern background, child of immigrants. First generation born in America. God bless USA. Right. And that's it, man. We're a no-name family. Everyone worked. Middle-class jobs, and we grew up in multifamily. That's what my parents did when they moved here. They bought a two-family. It was a mixed-use property. We had a barber shop on the first floor and then a two-family behind it. Me, my parents on the second floor, grandma, grandpa on the first floor, and we had that rental for the barber shop, basically. So.
And this is the same thing you do when you're talking to potential clients today when they bring in families,
correct?
Right? Like how to build your equity through house hacking.
My family was able to come here with basically nothing, and survive, through landlordship, basically, having somebody cover your expenses.
Right. Which makes sense. I mean, that's how you move money, right?
Correct.
You minus your expenses and grow your portfolio. Yep. That's what growth is all about. So look, I see what you're doing online. That's what attracted me to you when I started seeing you drop values and gems on what's going on and how they're gentrifying parts of Newark and parts of Monmouth County. Can you go into that a little bit, please?
So just, it's happening, and it's happening right in front of our eyes, people. It's not happening like over 10, 20 years. The time frame might be that long for it to start taking place, but the buildings are physically in front of our eyes. You know, we saw it happen in Jersey City with the skyscrapers, Kushner Real Estate moving in heavy. Right. Newark has a lot of properties that were dilapidated, and they said, you know what? We got the train tracks to New York, we got the waterfront, we got the beautiful park. Let's go up a few floors and see what we can do with this town. And honestly, it looks beautiful. I've seen a lot of these renderings, and they're bringing towers to this almost literally Manhattan sky-like towers to Newark.
Yeah, the Ironbound section, restaurants. You just see it.
It's mirroring. It's literally mirroring Manhattan, Jersey City, Brooklyn is just taking the same thing that they have and multiplying it at a cheaper level.
That's crazy.
That's what it is.
You're doing really well on social media.
Trying to.
How many years did it take you to get to this level to speak about the value you provide to potential buyers and sellers?
So I come from like an education background. I was going to be a biology teacher. I have my degree in biology. Oof. Right. Got my, passed my praxis. I got offered a position in Patterson Public Schools. My mother, as a teacher's aide, she always pushed it for me to like do something in education or hospital work, doctor, PA, physical therapist. I couldn't get in. So I passed my praxis, went to school in Patterson, and then, I got offered this position. And then basically I just love to educate, especially in Patterson being like a hard town, you're dealing with rough kids. Right. So you have to get through them and you have to make it kind of fun, educational in a way where they're going to like grasp it and want to listen to you. So that's what I do with my real estate. It's not the best conversation people want to have, but I figured if I'm genuine, be educational, give people information, like just pieces of knowledge that they can use to like better their lives in real estate. Why not? Right. As far as like tax freezes for senior citizens. Right. Most people don't know that. They have to hear about that. There's NACA programs where you can put as little as like 1.5% down to buy a house, So you have to educate these people and let them know that there are things out there for you that you don't know about. Right. And listening to me potentially might help you out. And if you give me a call to help you sell or buy a house, let's get it done, people. I'm here to do that. So.
As a lender, you attracted me because the value would drop. And so I'm pretty sure when you started on camera, it wasn't that easy.
It was, I never really had like I wasn't the outspoken, loudmouth in class, but I was always comfortable talking to people, friends, family. I was, I was a part of a dance group. I've been performing in weddings for the past 20 years. So
you was performing in weddings?
Check you out. We have a drum group, so I do weddings on the side. All right, Jordan was talking about music. I'm a little bit music background, but like I've never had that issue with like, being outspoken. Okay. So when the first few videos, uncomfortable, a little shaky, but the likes started coming in, the messages started coming in.
Right.
This is working. It's free. Right. It takes me a little bit of my time. It takes me a little bit of my time and effort to do this. But listen, you know, if I can get the word out there, my name out there, and build a brand generically, and, you know, just on my own time and not have anybody else say or, you know, tell me what to do, let's do this. You know, I just went full force, you know, 2 to 3 videos a week. My buddy Meth, shout out to Meth, you know, he was doing a lot of video tours. And I said, you know what? This guy's blowing up. 400,000 views, 300,000 views, a lot of buyer leads.
I got to jump on this. Right?
I got to jump on this. Why not? It's costing him 30 minutes of his time and, you know, another hour maybe in editing and posting. So what else am I realistically doing? Let me go out to these houses, shoot them, post them, talk about them, you know, educate. You know, so that's where it started. And I branched out into like, all right, when's Netflix coming? When's this building in Newark coming? Patterson, what are you guys doing? So like, that's where I just started. Like, I can grasp more attention to a bigger audience when like there's more information to provide. You know, yeah, house, 4-bed, 3-bath, but like Netflix is coming, 1 million square feet down in Monmouth County. That's going to grab attention.
All of a sudden there's land.
Exactly.
No, I mean, like I said, when you were just dropping the gems on what was happening specifically in Newark, because I used to work at Prudential. And I used to, when everything when the parking lot was a parking lot. Now it's 18-story Mars building, and they have like winter walks across the street from the Potential Theater right there. I'm like, I watched all this happen while I was at Prudential. I'm like, yo, and then I'm driving now to go into the city. I'm parking my car. I'm like, this shit doesn't look the same at all. It's just by the day, it's changing. And I'm not even tapped into Newark like I used to.
And you missed out on it, you feel like, right? You feel like you missed out.
I'm like, what the hell? How did this all happen so quickly? And shout out to the business owners who scripted the fact that Newark is going to come back, and it's going to come back strong and better than ever. And businesses going into these shops, Market Street, some mom and pops had to leave. We hate to see that. But some have recovered from a place where they're bringing on other partners to make their stores and expanding, making the stores that much better. So I love to see all that happen. And when you were just talking about it, specifically about the changes that were happening, I was like, yo, man, I got to work with this guy. I'm going to do whatever he wants in terms of showing my value to bring clients, because you mean well when you give out numbers to support the fact that why you should be buying in this particular town.
That's the one thing that doesn't lie.
The numbers. The
numbers will never lie. I don't care what anybody tells me. You look at the numbers and you'll be like, okay, here's the stats. Stats, people. I was selling lots in Newark, 25 by 100 for $20,000 to $25,000. If somebody asked for 30 grand for that lot, they were crazy. They're selling the same exact lots in the same location for $200,000 to $250,000 10 years later.
That's crazy.
So think about that. The values in the land. Just when you see land prices alone go that crazy in pricing and skyrocket that fast, something's to be said.
It's crazy. You know? Like I said, when you dive into it like that, I'm kind of like, yo, it's actually happening. And as I'm speaking to you now, you're giving me chills because of like, I seen it happen. And it happened in Brooklyn too, right? When you start making bike lanes and all that different things going on, you're like, yo, wait, what? This is happening? You're like, and the same thing is happening in Newark. In some cases, quietly, because if you're not tapped in, you don't know what's going on. That's why
it starts at the zoning meetings. You know?
Oh yeah, that
information, education. You got to know firsthand. So like, I read a story actually in Brooklyn, like in Greenpoint. You brought it up. The second they changed the zoning laws in Greenpoint,
game time. Game time.
Like this, property prices quadrupled. They went from a $2 million warehouse sitting on the waterfront to like a $10 million piece of property that can be developed into a 20-story building.
Crazy.
With 500 units. And the first person to know that is going to win.
And
the landlords don't even know it.
And Greenpoint it was an industrial area. It was just like Long Island City, like didn't have much going on. Like, you're like, yo.
So same thing happened in Newark. Politics came into play, rezoning, tax abatements. Why not? Bring in the investors, bring the money in, let them do what they got to do to bring the city, I don't want to say back to life, but, make it a crown jewel almost, It's Newark. Yeah, people look down on it. They also look down on Brooklyn. They also look down on Jersey City. Manhattan was a dump at one point. Look at it,
Yeah, it's changed,
You're paying almost $5,000-$6,000 a square foot, Jordan's selling these properties for.
I know, right? Looking for a real estate lawyer servicing all real estate need? Please contact John Georgie, servicing the state of New Jersey. what New Jersey town myth that you wish would go away beyond
New Jersey town? We're the armpit, you know. Our taxes are expensive.
Right,
you know.
right,
so these
right.
are like, I don't want to say myths, but this is what people talk about us. Like, yeah, our taxes are expensive. I mean, look, Newark has 50 schools, 50 principals, you know, 800 police officers. Like, you know, luckily we don't have 12 million residents like New York or 8 million residents that pay for this, but that's why our taxes are high, people. We have a lot of amenities in our towns. And armpit of New Jersey, I wish that would go away, man. We got the mountains to snowboard on. We got the beaches to go to the beach on. We got the plains to hang out and bonfire on, man. I don't know. No really myths that I can think of other than those two.
Okay. No, you're from Paterson, and we've seen Paterson change. That's changed drastically too,
Not
right?
as much as Newark.
Not as much as Newark, but
it has changed for the better, for the worse.
As price points change in Newark, I do see many coming to Paterson because of
it's a little bit cheaper, actually.
It's a little cheaper, right? You get more for your money.
You do.
You're not far from the GW,
Nope.
right? 80's right there. Can you talk about Paterson a little bit and what, if someone is looking to move in Paterson, what they should be considering and why Paterson is still good?
So it's a great location right next to Route 80. You got Parkway right there. Route 3 is right there. You know, all within a 5 to 7 minute drive. You're within major highways. The taxes are expensive. If you're looking at the same house in Newark, you're going to be paying about double to triple the taxes in Paterson. The good things about Paterson is, honestly, the best food I've had is in Paterson. If you're looking to be a foodie, Paterson has delicious food. All the immigrants that are there are cooking it like they are back at home. Second thing is, it's a very investor-friendly town for the most part. You know, you're going to get your high rents. You might pay a little bit for in taxes, but they do have the tax abatements in place if you're buying new construction. It's starting to pick up a lot. You know, Newark is definitely gentrifying, not as fast, not as quick as like Newark, East Orange is. It all comes down to politics. I don't see any towers going up in Paterson, you know? So no one's really going to come running to it until like a bigger guy like Florio. He's already in, I don't know if you know Florio at all.
No.
He owns, I want to say 80% of Paterson, give or take 50%. But people like that, we need like 3 or 4 of those guys to come in and say like, yeah, we need more than 6 stories, you know?
I did see, I hope I'm saying it right, the Heathcliff Stadium?
Hinchcliffe Stadium got a huge grant that got rebuilt.
That's
you got
very
the
nice.
waterfalls right next to it.
And
then, you know, basically John F. Kennedy High School's right there. So like there's 3 massive like kind of like presences in the area that are like bringing in thousands of people a day, you know.
And I saw they built like 55 and older communities right
next
there
to
too,
it.
right next
64
to it.
units right next to the Hinchcliffe Stadium. They dumped about like 30 to 50 million into the stadium itself, rejuvenated it. I fished literally in that river. I fish in the river. I literally used to walk past it, you know, and people are down there doing their thing by the river, fishing right next to them.
Doing their thing, right?
That building was disgusting. And now I walk past it to the same fishing spot and it's beautiful. They're playing soccer games in there, you know, they have the derbies and it's usable space now, you know, so it's beautiful that this thing's coming back to life, you know, cities like Paterson's coming back, cities like Newark, you know, where people want to be there. They're going to spend $800,000 on a house. And I mentioned that just because of the simple fact, here's the reason, 55 and older, right? If you're older, that's too much house for you. You're selling that. Now a potential home buyer can purchase the house that the elderly person was selling. Need anymore.
Now they can go to the 55 and older community. You see how that works? Going back to what you were saying, it all starts with the zoning. Once you can get certain things within the zoning, you could particularly focus on developments for those who are in that class to put them in a good situation while you create inventory. That's what it's all about, understanding the politics, understanding what the town is doing and what they're trying to do to help build inventory. And this is what you were going back to, education.
Someone, like I own a piece of property, I can't just put a hotel on it for 500 floors. You got to go to the town, and the town with the city and the neighbors have to say yes or no. You know, if they say yes, it's good for the area. If they say no, it's most likely not good for the area. So, and people get mad at it, you know, oh, why are they building this, no parking, no park? I'm like, we live in a metropolitan area, people. This ain't Paterson. This ain't Lancaster County.
No.
You know, buggies.
No horse and carriage.
No horse and carriage. You know, we're in Paterson, New Jersey. We have 200, 150,000 residents. You know, Clifton alone has 80 to 100,000 residents. Newark's at 300,000 residents almost.
It's a lot.
So stop expecting to build a single family house in downtown Newark for you to buy. It's not happening, people.
No. It doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make sense for the area.
There's no return, right?
And another thing is that like you're not realizing how much appreciation you're gaining. You know, when like your grandma and grandpa have owned this home and they paid 40 grand for it, and the neighbor just sold their house for 900 grand. You might be mad that you can't afford it, but your grandparents just picked up $800,000, $400,000 in equity overnight, basically. You know, it does look good, man. So like as a buyer, I understand how like frustrated you are and how like much the market's like not for you right now. But as a seller and whoever owns these houses, they needed this equity, specifically in Newark, you know, when they couldn't sell land for 20 grand.
Right.
Say your grandma held a house for this dirt for 50 years. She bought it for 5 grand, and now she's sitting on a gold mine, you know?
Yeah.
It's a gold mine for her.
And that's how it works, right? It's only worth when you sell it.
Correct.
It's not when you're living in it because you have to carry the expenses. So we talking about buyers, man. How do you get the emotions out when you're dealing with sellers, man?
Sellers are tough, man. They're very unreasonable in today's market right now. You know, they're expecting the world and $1 million for everything, you know? Yes, New Jersey's gotten very expensive. The average price points, you know, plus $500,000, you know? So $1 million is not unreasonable in a lot of these towns. Just dirt alone is going for $1,000 a foot.
He said dirt alone.
Dirt alone is going for $1,000 a foot.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's just getting these sellers to understand it's not 2021 anymore. And I got to get the buyers to understand it's not 2008 anymore, you know? Right. So like there has to be a middle ground where like sellers, yes, you have the perfect house, but you know, you have to understand that there isn't a million buyers like there was when rates were 3%, you know?
Right.
The average mortgage is 5,000 plus.
Right. Easy.
You're writing these mortgages out. You're seeing what they look like, what people have to qualify
scratch
for.
My head at
How do you pay that much? How?
You have to multiple incomes. It has to be like 3, 4, 5 people in some cases getting on this mortgage application to afford this home.
It's tough, man.
It's tough. It's
$5,000 a month. Then you got your living expenses, gas, electric, internet, car insurance, everything, your lifestyle. You know, so people are dropping minimum 10 grand a month right now to live in New Jersey.
Easy
to live in New Jersey.
Easy
10 grand a month.
Right.
Just on your basic lifestyle between house, your cars, your family, whatever you want to do. It's 10 grand a month.
Let's be clear. 10 grand net. Not gross income, right?
10 grand out of your pocket, expenses.
Right. So clearly someone walking into some of these towns purchasing a home, you got to be making, it's not to scare you, but combined salary at least north of $225,000 a year. And I'm being real with it, right? Because this is the cost of living in some parts of New Jersey. And that's just like the bare minimum, right? We haven't gotten to towns that are a little bit more affluent where you need to be making north of $400,000 just to get by. That's what's going on. That's the cost of living now. Now, the question is it a good time to sell or buy? This is where Spero comes in and says, I'm going to show you the data. This is what it looks like. If you don't do it, if you do it. But I'll tell you this. If I help you, I'm going to make sure the decision that you make is comfortable for you and your family. This is why I'm good at what I do.
Correct. Basic knowledge is like, if you can outlast the cycle of the up and down, you'll be fine. You know, be a good citizen. Don't get divorced to get your house split up. Or if you can buy them out, buy them out. Don't ruin your credit. So if you have to refinance, you're going to get cracked with a bad rate. You know, just be a good citizen. Keep your house intact. And if you need to sell it, you can sell it for the most part after that good cycle or that down cycle for a profit for the most part. Here's an example. You know, I know somebody in my life who bought a house in 2006 for $380,000, right? They dumped 120 grand into it. 2016, they went through a divorce. They had to sell the house. So 380 plus 120, 500. We sold the house for 340. Oof. The divorce is what killed it. If we were to sell it today, in today's market, we'd be selling it for $650,000.
Okay.
They you know, they dumped a lot of money at the time, but like, you know, if you just outlasted it, you know, we're able to push through it, you'll come out on top for the most part.
I was wrong.
For the most part.
Okay. Well, because I'm thinking like today, right, home appreciations, they've been going up at least, even in some part in the areas, over 4%.
More.
Right. And I'm just being conservative, right? So I'm thinking like, when you mentioned that maybe that person could have sold the house for $700,000-800,000 because of the whole bidding war that's been going on these past couple of years.
If it was a 3-bedroom, it would have. It was a 2-bedroom.
Oh, it was a 2-bedroom. Okay.
2-bedroom, 2-bath. It wasn't like the creme de la creme house.
Oh, okay.
So that's why I didn't go for like maximum like value. But like, yeah, like realistically speaking, you know, if they held it until today, they probably could have sold it for $650,000. Yes.
If you're looking for a title company that's easy and no headaches at closing, please contact Alan, Chief of Staff at Simplicity Title. They're covering the state of New Jersey. So how do you determine which clients you want to bring on your platform? Because you're very strategic when you go through your whole presentation about what does this look like. Have you told clients in some cases, look, you're being unrealistic, I can't work with you before?
I just went through the scenario.
Okay, I didn't even know that, right?
Literally last weekend.
Looking at these questions.
Last weekend, I went on a listing appointment, 2-family in Clifton.
Right.
Okay, I go to the house. I see the house. It's a 2-family on a main road with no parking. 2 bedrooms, 1 bath on the first floor. There's clothes everywhere. The tenant has clothes everywhere. Inside, outside, the basement. There's a bed in the living room.
Oh.
There's a whole room dedicated to Hello Kitty. Okay. She's paying $1,600 in rent. Okay. I go upstairs. There's probably 15 people living in the house. They're paying $2,600 in rent. I call the landlord. I'm like, look, you know, if I put this on the market for $549, I might be able to get you somewhere around $6, maybe. This is aggressively pricing it.
Right.
$6. I need $7. I'm like, $7? Have you seen the house? Have you gone to the house, bro? Right. Have you been there? And I'm like, dude, you're first of all, I'm like, you have a tenant paying $1,600, which no one's gonna want. One. Right. Two, I was like, there's clothes everywhere. Even if I show the house, it's not gonna look good. Three, I was like, and thirdly is like, you don't understand. Like your friends that are telling you $700,000 don't know anything about the market. Right. You know, you're asking your friends and family what they think, and they have no clue, you know, for the most part. You're asking me to sell your house, and I'm a professional. I'm telling you what I think to sell your house for max value. You think I want to waste my time and effort and money? Right. No, I'm here to sell real estate, not waste my time. Right. So that's, I told that seller, I was like, look, man, unfortunately, I do not want to waste my time or your time. You want to find another agent, go ahead. But I was like, I need to list this house at $549. If you want to be, you know, as unreasonable as you can, hold on to it, dude. So it's just people that like you cannot help. Right. You have to know when to walk away, and there's specific buyers that you have to know when to walk away too, man. Some buyers, you give them 4, 5, 6 weeks of your time, and you put in as much educational information as you can, and tell them, here's what houses in this area sell for: 50 to 100 grand over asking. Right. Well, I want it for 100 grand under asking. This is not the market for you, man. I'm sorry, I don't think I can help you out. You know, unfortunately, like you just have to know when you can. And there's a point where you have to say, I can't help you out.
You can't.
I'm sorry.
And that's the tough part, right? And you know, when we go on social media, we see some of the you know, the things that we do very well at, right? Sometimes we don't talk about the disappointments. And this is exactly why I brought you on this platform to talk about, let's talk about some of the things that are happening when you're not posting on social media, like the behind the scenes, like where clients are not being realistic. Some clients, and be careful. Some clients are not being realistic with what they're seeing and what they want for a return on what they feel like it's worth millions of dollars, and you have to bring down the temperature a little bit, like, no, it's worth this, but I can get you this. Are you willing to work with me? Yes or no? And you provided a good example. Of
here's another example. No. I had the buyer pre-approved, 500 grand, right? Putting 100 down. Good quality buyer, good credit. I showed them the same house for the 3 weeks in a row. Same Cape Cod, same exact style house. Right. Cape Cod, 3 beds, 2 baths, you know, finished basement with a garage and a driveway. The same exact house, maybe 30, 40 times. Not one offer was written. Not one house was interesting to her. And I said, listen, this is the market. This is what you're buying. Right. There's not much out there that you're going to be able to look at and say, I like it. You know, are you going to be able to be happy? No. Then look, you know, I'll call you when something comes up. You know, I showed you the same house 30 times, and not one of them you liked.
And what do you think you're going to get? You're going to go where are you going to go? Like Glen Rock?
She wants 4 beds. She wants 4 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms. Like your budget is for a 3-bedroom, 2-bath house in this area. You know, you're not going to be able to go out further the west, because Cranford is double, Westfield is triple. So, you know, and I told them, I was like, I cannot help you out. I'm sorry. After like 4 weeks, 5 weeks of taking them out, like every Monday for like 4 or 5 hours, showing them the same house, I said, I cannot help you out, people. I'm sorry. Wow. You know, and they might have bought a house. Good for them. That wasn't my buyer for me to not waste my time, just exert all my effort and energy into, you know.
So how are you having those conversations with those first-time home buyers that come to you at times, you know, thinking that they can have what they see on social media or on TV or for friends and family? How are you managing those expectations? Because I think that's very important.
Very important. I break the numbers out again. Okay. Here are the numbers. Here's the recently sold homes in what town you want. Bloomfield, New Jersey, 3 beds, 2 baths. Look, listed for $499, sold for $650. Are you able to do this? Right. You know, all right, you're putting 3.5% down on $1 million. The mortgage is 15 grand. Right. Are you able to do this? Right. So most of the time they see the approval. I don't want to say this, but most lenders aren't breaking the numbers down. No. They like month by month, like, yeah, look, your mortgage payment's going to be $8 grand a month with 200,000 down, and here's your interest payment. You know, so like it's. A lot of these buyers aren't having these conversations, I'm noticing. Well, so I'm kind of have to do, I'm sorry, I'm like, you can edit this out.
No, you're keeping it real. No.
Keeping it real. And that's why I don't want to waste my time with FHA buyers thinking like you're going to get your dream house for 3.5% and think your mortgage payment's going to be okay. Like if you're okay dropping $8 grand a month with 3.5% down, just think about it. The market shifts 3.5%. Yeah. You're underwater on your mortgage.
Absolutely. I have this conversation all the time with my potential buyers. Like you need to see everything, because what if that person doesn't pay rent?
Yeah.
Like,
that's a $3,000 payment that you're going to have to cover.
Right. And So to what Spero was talking about, some lenders, I'm not here to bash them, but it is what it is. They're just doing what they feel is comfortable at the time because they just got the lead and they just give it to someone, right?
Here's the approval.
Right. The way we do it here, the way I do it is anytime someone's working with me, I do a video. I show them what it costs, whether it be 3%, 5%, 10%, 15%. If they're going up $10,000, $15,000 more, I show them what that looks like. And also I include the baseline number of what closing costs will be in addition to down payment.
Yes. Dude, what's closing costs? Yeah, oh my God.
They think their down payment is their closing. And they, in their mind, because somebody probably told them that, right? Yeah. No. So I break down the two differences. And I'm like, if you're getting a grant, this is what the grant is going up to. If you're going to get a gift from a family, this is what you can do. And this is how you need to do it. This is how you need to title it to make sure there's no miscommunication or fraudulent Patriot Act things that we have to adhere to that they don't want you to think that you're stealing. I go through all that because it's so important. There's so much information out there. And to what Spero was talking about, some just give a pre-approval not knowing the buying power. And that create a cluster F because at the end of the day, he's got to talk to the other side. If they don't start trusting him when he brings deals over, you're effing up his reputation with his potential buyers and sellers when it comes to deals. Yep. They just don't understand the domino effect that it can happen when you're dealing with someone who's being lazy about the most important thing when someone's buying a house.
Correct.
To that point, this is why it's so important to work with reputable, someone who takes their time, lender, Jimmy Mortgage, holla. And when it comes to real estate, Spero, when it comes to making sure this is the data that you need, this is what it's going to take for you to get there. Yep. I'm going to show you what's available for you now. Yep. If things change, we'll cross that bridge when we get there. But for now, this is what we're working with.
Correct.
First-time home buyers, I think, is one of the, just because they get information from all over.
That's what it is. There's so many outlets for them to see, like TikTok, social media, Facebook, Instagram. They're going to talk to a few lenders. They're going to talk to a few agents that might not know or say different stuff, So it's tough to just sit down and realize, all right, there's one game plan I need to stick to and, go with it. Like save $100,000, stick to that game plan. Build my credit over 700, stick to that game plan. Keep my job for 2 years, just stick to a game plan and, move forward with it. A lot of people are like, oh, I don't know what I want. I don't know if I want a condo. I don't know if I want a townhouse. I don't know if I want a 3-bedroom multifamily. So it's just like, I don't want to say you're entitled to the world, but in this market, it's tough to I had a client that wanted anything. I was like, dude, pick a town, pick a style, and pick a budget, and I'll work on the rest. That's it. So it's tough to gauge where to go for the most part. Like my one buyer didn't even know he was qualified for a grant. The lender didn't tell him. I was like, look, we're buying in Patterson, dude. This is qualifies for a $15,000 grant. Let's go right now.
And you get a better rate in some communities. Some urban communities, you get a better rate. It's called the CRA program, right? Where you also get a grant in addition to a better rate. So the question is, you just got to ask. I'm hoping you ask the right folks like myself and Spero when it comes to getting a mortgage for me, and obviously when it comes to everybody, buying a house for me.
So exactly. It's very important that you ask the right questions and have them also bring up questions for you as well.
Right.
It's tough. You have to go. It's a back and forth. Like I'm still learning every day. I was with a developer, the other day. We were driving around some of the properties, and he told me something I never knew. He said, if I buy this house across the street and this house across the street, this street in the middle doesn't exist anymore. I can take over and build a building on top of it. It's like, wow.
So you're using that easement?
You're using the easement because the street's there for those two houses only. If those two houses are going to be demolished and put up a building, the street can go bye-bye.
Wow.
So, I forgot the name of it, but I'm still learning every day, and I'm just trying to get it out to my clients and, provide as much value as I can, man. And this is what we're here. Let's talk about it.
Yeah, he goes. If you're looking for ISAs and marketing, please contact J. Lopez Enterprise, servicing all 50 states. Speaking of let's talk about it, we see Netflix coming to New Jersey now, right?
The deal is closed. The deal's closed. They're building already. Permits are approved, and that's it, man. They're here. They're not coming. They're here, baby. The money was spent already.
I'm wrong. They are here.
They're here.
So
Paramount is here.
Paramount is here. So they're Bayonne and Monmouth County, right?
Netflix in Monmouth. We have Lionsgate in Newark, and we have Paramount in Bayonne.
And why are you not calling him to buy a house?
You heard that? And hold on. People are waiting for prices to come down. Oh. And you got companies like Netflix, Lionsgate, Paramount spending billions of dollars in New Jersey, right? Because they see the value of it, man. So it's tough. One of my cousins, I've been begging her for 3 years now to buy a house.
Right.
Spero, I'm like, listen, these people are coming in and spending money. Like, just buy a damn house. You know, put your foot in the door. That's all you gotta do.
Just buy a damn house.
Put your foot. I told you could have bought any piece of crap house in a flood zone, a 2-bedroom, 1 bath, or whatever it was, and made 200 grand in 3. Like, you know, so just get your foot in the door, build the equity, and then move on to the next house. You don't have to stay in this house forever. It's a tool. Use it as a tool to move on to something else that you want. You know, so that's what people don't understand. Like, money's a tool. Housing is a tool. One of my clients is selling 3 multifamilies right now to upgrade into a nice 30-unit building. So he's trading 8 units for 30 units for the most part. You know, you have to use your properties as tools.
So he was able to do that because you showed him the numbers, right?
He knew. He's a very smart investor.
Okay, I'm trying to get.
He's very smart guy. I give him props. I learn a lot from him. He's one of my mentors. But like, you know, the fact that like he was able to turn this like almost whatever couple $100,000 investment to like going to be a multi-million-dollar deal, and cash flowing the whole time in the process is just like something of beauty. And he only started this like 5 years ago, you know.
Wow.
So it bothers me when like people say, oh, I can't afford it right now. It's just like, well, what are you waiting for, man? It's just going to get a little more expensive. And yeah, the market might crash, but we know it's going to rebound way higher than it did last time. Like 2008 back crash. 2026, we're almost double that crash now. You know, we're doubled it.
Well, that's the scary thing is everybody talks about the crash, but then when you mention that's the reason why the rates were low as they're low, people are like, no, that's not true. And they're expecting that to happen again. I'm just here to tell you, we're speaking today in year 2026, that if you think rates are going to be in the 3s this year, it's not going to happen. Now, if someone is selling you at 3%, that means you're paying a lot of points to get to that 3%, right? It's called a bait and switch. You're going to pay almost $20,000 to $30,000 to get your rate, maybe at 4%, depending on where you're at your risk profile. So the truth of the matter is, you're not going to see that rate right now, not this year. What you're going to see is anywhere between maybe high 5s going into the beginning 6. So the question is, how do you position yourself? You understand your buying power through me. You understand what neighborhoods you can go through Spero, and then you work that magic. Now you start making make sense. Stop trying to find someone speaking in Georgia or in Florida or in Nebraska telling you let's house hack and it's going to only cost you $2,000 a month. New Jersey taxes are just $1,000 a month just for New Jersey taxes on most homes in the state. So making it $2,000 does not make any sense. So what you're saying, things are happening here, opportunities happen here. We're adjacent to a lot of states. You know, you got New York and then you got Pennsylvania. Why not buy in New Jersey? I mean, it makes sense, especially if these companies are coming here and they are here.
They are here.
Infrastructure is going to follow by the companies being here. So my call to action is very simple. Understand what your buying power is. Understand what does that look like if you're moving to that particular town, and pay attention to the details when someone is telling you what you can afford versus what you cannot afford, because that's very important. Not everybody's speaking from the same world that you're living in. You just got to make it make sense.
Yes, you have to basically just know the numbers, people. Just know your numbers and how comfortable you feel with those numbers. Can I get rid of 100 grand today and pay $8,000 a month comfortably? That's it. Just a basic question. That's it.
Spero, you have a beautiful family. You got a lot going on. How do you see people moving in with families now? Because you just started out. Congratulations again. I saw the beautiful pictures.
Yeah, man.
Congratulations.
Love my family.
It was baptism. It was
we baptized my son.
Baptized your son. That was beautiful.
Thank you.
What is that like now when you see some who are move-up buyers and they've grown their family? What kind of conversations are you having with them now?
They're basically like the number one client. You know, is people with families that are outgrowing their original home. You know, so it's just. They have a better understanding. They went through the purchasing already. They know for the most part, like, yeah, I just gained 200 grand, 300 grand in equity that I'm probably going to have to give up for the new house, you know, unless I want to downsize, unless I want to live like a lesser of a lifestyle, you know, you're going to be paying more for the upgrade, and they're understanding it because they see the benefits of home ownership. They see, yo, I bought a house in 2019 for 300 grand. I'm selling it for 800 grand today. Why not do this all over again? You know, so it's a simpler process to have with the second-time homeowner. For the first-time buyers that have the families and they're moving from the apartments, they're more pressured to move. So they're easier to have this conversation as far as like, listen, guys, you might have to drop 50 grand over ask to get your family into this neighborhood tomorrow. You know, so they're more understanding than like the investor that wants to make 10% on this investment in Newark. No, the family that wants to live in it's going to pay more than you, and because they see sentimental value and location for them that's going to like benefit to their family and their lifestyle. You as an investor is just looking at 8, 9, 10%. That's all you're looking at. Nothing else, nothing less. So, and these buyers that like with the families, it's they're their backbone right now. It's a family, you know. The families are creating these prices that like are inflated.
Right.
Yes, the agent and the sellers are like marketing the houses, but the buyers that ultimately paying the price are these families, you know, and they need it and they see the benefit of this. So thank you, families, for keeping New Jersey real estate market afloat, man. Because yes, investors are there too. You know, they're paying top dollar for these investments, but they're not taking home 10% anymore. They're taking 4%, which realistically is just bringing prices more and more higher. So
clearly, because the cost of materials is where it's at. Right?
Everything,
labor is different.
labor, cost of material. You have your consumer, that's the end user, that's you're competing against. So like they're all fighting to be in the same location in the same house. You know, everyone's fighting for this area, and people talk bad about it, but our numbers aren't lying.
No,
the numbers are there. No. You know, 800 grand for a 2-family in Patterson, 900. I think we cracked 1.2 in Newark actually.
Oof.
Newark cracked 1.2 for a new construction, 2-family.
I can see that.
You know, so talk all you want. The numbers are there in the pudding, and New Jersey is not going anywhere as far as pricing goes.
I did a mortgage on 950, so I've seen it. So it's what it is.
These towns appreciating this fast just shows you like how hard it's going to be, you know, later on to buy like, I want to buy a 2-family in Bergen County. Good luck, dude. Good luck.
Right.
They're not even zoning them anymore.
No.
Woodland Park, I live in Woodland Park. We found 100 by 100. They used to be zoned for duplexes.
That's not happening.
Not happening anymore.
Yeah, because
they said, Spero, we don't have room in our schools, bro.
No, yeah.
So Clifton as well, they're like cutting down on, there's no room in the schools in our area. So that's why just location, you know, politics come into play, and we have a great area to live in, you know. Education's here. We have transit to and from Manhattan. We have great jobs that have high paying, you know, careers. So people want to be here.
Wow.
That's it,
so he dropping some gems, guys. If you don't know, now you know, right?
Now you know.
Now you know,
if
right?
you don't know, now you know, baby.
So Spero, I know Backroom was me, you, and Jordan, and we were talking about a wholesaler who's very good at what he does. Can you mention his name again?
Cliff Asime, yeah, great guy.
Okay.
We've been I've known him for about 2 years now, and he's a wholesaler, and you know he's doing so that whole line comes with, you know, closing deals. If you close deals as a wholesaler, you're gonna get a lot of deals your way because they know you'll close whatever it is. Whatever it is, they'll close it. You know, I don't know what you have to ask me about Cliff, but great guy. Nothing but.
Well, I wanted to mention because I saw you speaking of him, Jordan. I always feel like anytime someone gets an opportunity to do what they do well at, and if Jordan knows him, you know him, I'm like, he's doing something right, to get the attention here. So I always feel like let's plug that person in there, right? Because it's all about opportunities. Relationships can change so many different things in dynamics.
I didn't think I was walking in here today and meet somebody on TV, Sarant, you know, I didn't know I did.
Right, and that's what it's all about, man. It's relationships are key. So that's why I felt like let's just bring this brother up and talk about what he's doing.
So Cliff's a good guy, man. We'll definitely I'll give you contact information. Let him know Jimmy wants to talk to him.
Let's
have him
go.
in here next.
Right. That's what it's all about. So when you're not doing the beautiful thing when it comes to educating value proposition in real estate, what are you doing outside of that, man?
Snowboarding, dude. In the winter, fishing in the summer for the most part. And then, like I said, I'm in the music industry. So we do weddings. You know, wedding band. We have like an entertainment company. That's my side gig. You know, I love it because it also helps my wedding, like my real estate industry, you know? You know, we go to the wedding expos and we sit down, we have these conversations with newly wedded couples. You know, at their wedding, I'll drop my business card in there, you know, thanks for having us at your wedding. So that's my lifestyle, man. I got a beautiful family at home. I'm just trying to raise happily. My wife's doing a killer job. I love you, Age. You're doing an amazing job raising these 2 boys while I can come here and do this. You know, she's a stay-at-home mom right now and she's losing her mind, but you know, I love her to death and she loves what she's doing, and you know, that's it, man. We're here to raise our family and make sure, you know, the kids are happy and healthy and they can see things that we never saw, you know, and that's my goal, is just to grow us as much as we can, and hopefully they pick up where I left off. If not, everything's getting sold and we'll see what happens, bro. Who knows?
That part. Oh my God. So Spero, if people are looking for you, where can they find you, man?
Spero Kali, NJ Realtor on Instagram, Spero Kalyoussef on Facebook, you know, so I'm all over social media. Jimmy, great guy. Thank you for having me on here, dude.
Yeah, all the time, man. All the time.
I don't know if you need anything else from me, brother.
No, just relationship, man.
That's it, right?
Everything else comes later. It's
the
all
connections we make are the most important right now, right?
Right. 'Cause it's a marathon for me, man. You know, we move in game in inches. At the end of the day, this means plenty because you never know what can lead to other opportunities and other doors opening
100%, brother.
There you go,
I used to be lone wolf mentality. I used to have lone wolf mentality where it's just me against everybody else. You're competition to these other agents, and you know, it's almost like, you know, 14 years in, you realize like, look, I need these guys' help just as much as they need me. You know, so like, build your relationships. Call the agent, ask them if they have an off market. You know, call them, see what they're working on. You never know, they might like you and kick you here. I got this 3-family off market. You got a buyer? Yeah, I do. Why not? You know,
there it is. And look, don't try to keep the information. I'm not gonna show you how I get my. I promise you, you can put that shit right there.
Yeah.
Some people are still not gonna do it, and they're not gonna do it the way you do it. So at the end of the day, sharing, growing, it's all about, that's what Let's Talk About. It's about, we're that platform where that's why I bring in collaborations like you and others, professionals, to say, hey, look, if you see what's going on, let's talk about it. Let me tap into this person. Here's this person's number. Here's this person's email. And let's go make it make sense, man. Because at the end of the day, we're just feeding our family, man. There's nothing more about anything else but just making our family happy and making our clients happy.
Yes.
That's key. Making our clients happy.
We're not in the sales business.
No.
People don't realize that. We're in the customer service business.
Yeah, exactly,
you know?
man.
It's not you're coming to me, I'm selling you a TV or a car, I'll see you later.
No, we're not doing
We're
that.
doing this for 3 to 4 months, 5 months. This is a service business, you know?
Exactly, because everything is built on reputation.
Correct.
If I don't have allies with me, then what do I have? Then what's the purpose, right? So
if Jimmy had a bad name out there, I wouldn't be sitting here. You know, the fact that he's putting in the time, effort, and energy to do all this, to make yourselves aware of the information we have, that speaks volumes.
Thank you,
dude.
man.
So like, I appreciate you having me on here. You know, I'm looking forward to working with you in the future, dude. And you know, we definitely got some stuff in the pipeline right now.
Yeah,
and,
let's grow.
And let's grow, bro.
I love it, man.
Thank you, man.
Others, if you're looking for Let's Talk About It, look on your favorite streaming platform. I'm all over Jimmy Mortgage. Again, tap in. Let's grow.
Let's get it, people.
Hey, listeners, are you looking to improve your home comfort and save on your energy bills? Let's talk about Seal Power. They've been awarded Energy Star Sustained Excellence Award, seen on Good Morning America, the New York Times, and World News. Seal Power is dedicated to keeping your home cozy while saving you money. Check out their website for tips and incentives and more at CIELPOWER.com. Stay comfortable and save with Seal Power, where comfort meets efficiency. Follow them on Instagram for updates and more, and Let's Talk About It as well. Thank you.